Hello and welcome to this FPL differential live stream, Wes. Today we're going to try and pick a team of differentials just to do something a little bit differential than everyone else. We could do another template team. We could do another, you need Salah, you need Bruno, stick Trent in a lineup, but that just seems too easy.
Exactly, yeah. So what we're going to do today is a nice little... Obviously, we're not saying go ahead and put this as your FPL squad, all 15 differentials, but it's a good way of chatting about them and debating them back and forth, John. And also, John, we didn't actually speak on video call before the stream. I'm just caught up, and I can see you in a Brazil shirt. Very nice.
Yeah, O2. Do you know what? Chubby John, when he was younger, he's still chubby, but he was very chunky whenever he was about 10 years old. He used to rock his little Brazil shirt every day. And it still fits me, and I'm like 28 years old, so that tells you a lot. But
Perfect.
Yeah, no, it's loving it. But
very nice. So 2002 World Cup was that?
I'm pretty sure this is the O2 World Cup one. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. But that's what made me fall in love with football. But yeah. So today we're going to build a differential lineup, and then we're going to do quick fire questions for 15 minutes, and wrap up just to give people a bit of a bit of guidance before the deadline. But before we get into that, Wes, me and you, John Ellis at FPL Heisenberg, you can see our wee @ tags below us. Go find us on Twitter. We'll be streaming throughout the season on Fantasy Football Hub's YouTube channel, and we're very excited to do that. Yeah, so go and follow us. Look out for this stream every week. Subscribe to this channel. And yeah, I suppose that's about it, Wes, isn't it?
Perfect, yeah. I've tweeted about the live stream as well today, so if people want to jump on to my Twitter, retweet that, and then we'll get more and more people in here and in the comments watching and interacting. Should be good fun. That'd
be amazing. Well, before we get into it, big shout out to Oasis, who was first one in the comments, followed by Josh Firmer, Footy, Dan's there, Scratch, David Rodriguez, Nelgun, that's my cousin, who I'm going to absolutely... You know Brendy, who I talk about in the podcast?
Brendy.
Yeah, that's him. Him and his big face. I'm going to beat him again this year. Damien Aussie Boy, Simon Sparks, Harry, Lee J, all there. And Dan is here again, saying bye-bye then. Oh no, live has stopped apparently, Wes. I have no idea why that would be. This happened last week, apparently.
I think it was. I think it was all good in the end, wasn't it? So we'll keep going unless the comments.
It's all good on my phone. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Also, just a quick one before we get into it. We will get into it quick, guys. Don't worry, because we're going to be ploughing through it. But Brandy, make sure you beat John this year. I want you to have bragging rights over him this year.
Well, you're the only one allowed to beat me. But yeah, we're going to have to come up with a forfeit for the season. We're going to have to do that.
We do.
Look. Let's whip it up here. So, what we've got is, I've just cleared my team. My team definitely has a little bit of tinkering left in it, but it's just a blank slate, and we're going to build it looking at players with less than 10% ownership. So, We'll start with the goalkeepers. This one should be pretty snappy. Basically, the top 5 goalkeepers are all owned more than 10%, but the first one under that is Mendy. Now, he's 6 million for a goalkeeper. I have a feeling we're going to have lots of money here, Wes, because we're going differential. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. I built a squad a few weeks ago, and I think I tweeted it from Hub. And I ended up with what looked like an alright squad on paper, to be fair. And I think I had 2 million spare because I just couldn't spend all the money. So, yeah, in terms of differential goalkeepers, I haven't really spent much time considering goalkeepers, John. I don't know about you. I've kind of been set on either sort of one of the 4.5 million guys. So, just haven't given much thought to the likes of, your expensive keepers. Meslier did interest me. I don't know what his ownership is, John. Can you check Meslier?
I can, yeah. Meslier is 4.4%.
Okay, so that's a nice differential. So I think for me, a goalkeeper differential, I think let's put him in straight away. We don't want to spend too long on goalkeepers, do we? But
no.
I think a lot of people, and especially if you check Twitter, Sanchez seems to be in 90% of the teams. Other than that, you've got people going Backman or maybe Martinez because of last year. But yeah, no one's really gone Meslier. It's only 5.0. A little bit more expensive than I'd like to spend. However, yeah, as a differential goalkeeper goes, I know these early fixtures aren't good, but with a goalkeeper, you normally keep them a lot longer. And I think I saw a stat. I did definitely see the stat. I think he had the most amount of saves per game last year, and he also racked up a decent amount of clean sheets. So, when he was getting some big hauls last year. He was getting your clean sheets, your bonus points, your save points. So, he's not a bad option at all.
Yeah, I think whenever I look at this and we're going under 10%, so there's Mendy, but I mean, he's 6 million. You don't want to be spending 6 million on a goalkeeper. So for me, you're kind of looking at Pickford or you're looking at Meslier. Now, Guaita is there at 4.5, but they've grim fixtures and I don't trust that at all. I remember a season or two ago, he was great for a spell, but no. not for me now. So for me, if you're going differential, I mean, realistically, the reason Sanchez is so highly owned is because he's a nice price point and he's going to play. Schmeichel as well at 5 million. But I would be going Pickford or Meslier. So we'll stick with Meslier and we'll probably stick in the Leeds backup.
Stick Pickford in as well, because this isn't a true squad that anyone's going to really go with. So yeah, obviously, just to reiterate, guys, I'd never put in to my own team 2 5 million goalkeepers, but we're kind of just highlighting our 2 favourite differential goalkeepers here. This is what this is sort of illustrating.
Yeah, 100%. So we're on the defenders, Wes, and
love it.
Do you know, like, there are a lot of these actually owned by more than 10%. By the time you get down to the highest owned under 10% is Mings, and geez, we're clutching at straws there. I'm going to pick one out just off the face of this. Now, I think if he's getting game time, and I've heard that he's likely to, Cancelo could be great value if he is playing.
Yeah, 100%. Cancelo was a player last year. It is that problem with Man City's, will they be nailed on? But leaving that question at the door for the minute, in terms of what Cancelo offers when he is playing, is unbelievable. I remember a game last season when I had him in my team for West Brom away. He got a really nice goal that it was actually given offside, and then VAR changed it so it was given. And there was a really nice assist for Gundogan as well in that game. So yeah, that was a really memorable game for me. So yeah, Cancelo, really good shout, John, there. Stick him in.
He's in. Who's up next? You can pick the next one.
It's just getting up on my phone, bear with me. So Leicester, Castagna is one that no one's really talking about. Possibly, a little bit expensive. I know he had injury problems last year, but he's one of those, a bit similar to what I was just saying about Cancelo. When he is fit and firing, he's a very attacking fullback or sometimes wing back, and we know how good Leicester are. The last 2 seasons they've came top 5, haven't they, both years? So they are one of, we probably think of Arsenal as Tottenham's bigger and better clubs than Leicester, but in terms of recent history, Leicester are actually better than those clubs. So you've got a defender from a top team there, so likely to get a few clean sheets. Attacking returns are possible. I think from what I've been reading, he is fit to play. He's going to play with I think he's got a face mask he's got to wear, like when people have facial injuries. So, but yeah, I think I like him as a decent differential option.
Can I go absolutely mad here, Wes, and jump to a different position just because we're on Leicester? I had a look down there and I see Patson Daka is owned by 1.7%. That seems low. Now, for people to have a bit of sort of background here, Erling Haaland, who we all know, left Salzburg, went to Dortmund. Daka was, as far as I think he might have even beat Haaland's numbers at Salzburg. I could be wrong,
really?
But he had outstanding numbers there. Like, I mean, I'm not saying he's Haaland, but I'm saying, like, he's a proper cracking player. 23 million, I think, or something. That was a bargain. Now, with Vardy there and Iheanacho on that sort of form, Barnes coming back into the side, I don't know how much rotation there is going to be at the start, but if it's established after a couple of weeks that Daka is a starter, which is likely enough, I think, with that price tag, I think he could be a cracking pick. I think
stick him in. What I'd like to add on to that, I echo that. Obviously, my knowledge of the European leagues isn't as good as yours, so I'll take your word for it there. But also, I'd like to add on that Leicester's recruitment, they very rarely get it wrong. Very rarely get it wrong. They've got previous of getting. I know Daka's not unknown, but they've got like unknowns like Mahrez and Kante, and I'm being poor with words here, but they're getting players who aren't big name players. They're getting them in and making them better and then selling them on for big money. So, I trust Leicester's recruitment more than probably any team in the Premier League, if you think about it over the last few years. So yeah, no reason why Daka can't do it. And like the issue you just said is the sort of rotation risk there. And I don't think he started in the Community Shield. I think it was Barnes and Vardy was sort of starting with both Iheanacho and Daka on the bench, was it? Someone in the comments can let me know. Yeah. But yeah, I think he's one to, for this exercise, highlight him, but maybe not one for your Game Week 1 team, guys. Maybe just keep him on your watch list, ready for, once he's starting games, get on him early doors, and you could be an early adopter.
That's the thing. Like, I come from spaces where prospecting and looking ahead to what's going to happen in the future, and it's a theme that kind of ran through the podcast last year, whereas remember I'd always say, like, I think this guy's going to come good in a few weeks, or this guy could be great in a few weeks. I think this is one of those that I would never have Daka in the Game Week 1 team, so maybe it's the wrong guy for this exercise, because I just think it's too risky. Do you know, the chances of him being benched, the chances of him not coming into the team for a few weeks, the chances of a 15-minute cameo are too high. You want it established. But I do think, I'm making the call now on the stream, that in 2-3 weeks, if Daka is an established 90-minute man, he'll be in everyone's team at 7.5 million.
Yeah.
I really do think that.
Yeah, no, I like his potential as well, and like I echo everything you said. Just quickly, John, before we move on from Daka, just for a bit of fun, how many Premier League goals is your guess for what Daka will get this season come the end of game week 38?
Oh, that's an impossible question. If he plays 38, if he was to play 38 games or 90 minutes playing in a Leicester squad, I mean, I'd be looking upward 15 to 20 goals. I don't know, but I mean, realistically, I think something like 12 is probably fair for a first season in the Premier League. The transition, the rotation with Iheanacho and Vardy. So if he's kind of bit part player, 12. If he's nailed for the season, I'm going for 18 goals. And that is ambitious, but look, that's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah, why not? I think Bamford obviously came up from the Championship. I know it's a bit different, but he came up from the Championship last year. No one was expecting him to score goals, and I think he got 17, didn't he? And a load of assists. So yeah, it's definitely possible. And also, I think on that, it's also, I asked you about the whole season, but with FPL, the whole season's almost irrelevant. Think back to Lingard and Iheanacho last season, and players like Gundogan. Their overall, players like Ward-Prowse probably outscored a lot of those players over the course of the season. But if you had Ward-Prowse, you'd tick along with like one goal every 4 or 5 games. Whereas with those guys, you bring them in for their red hot form, and you transfer them out when they're injured or out of form. So it's about jumping on the players when they are. So maybe Daka has a poor first 10 game weeks, but then he has a great middle stage of the season and scores a goal a game for 10 in a row, and then maybe he tails off. So yeah, you just want to get these players in for their hot spells.
Well, that's the thing, because I mean, well, first off, just to sort of clear this up, no one's even mentioned in the comments, but before someone does, the chances of Daka getting that regular game time in his first season in the Premier League and getting 18 goals, I think it's like a fucking 2% chance. I really don't think it's going to happen, but it's just a shout to look back. It'll be a fun clip if it did happen. But just as you're saying there about getting people in form in spells, it isn't about necessarily who gets the most points over the season. You can have, let's take one of your forward slots. In that forward slot alone, let's say you have someone who's in form followed by someone who's in form followed by someone's in form. If you guess that position and that player correctly, you can have a 300-point player a season. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm getting at? That slot of your squad can score you 300 points in the season. So it's all about 100%. Picking players in their hot spells. Anyway, Wes, next defender, under 10%. Is Tierney going to play?
Don't actually know. He's not someone I've been monitoring too widely. I think he's a bit of a He's not rotation. He was a bit of an injury-prone player last season. But again, he is a good shout, assuming he is fit. And let's trust if FPL haven't got him flagged, let's trust that he's okay. Again, guys, let us know in the comments if we've overlooked something with Tierney. But I think he could be a good shout, and he's only, just bringing him up now, 8.2% owned. So yeah, and I think the fixtures are fairly decent early doors as well. Just checking them again.
I've whipped it up. He's got, in his on the 1st of August, he played 70 minutes. And on the 8th, he played 80 minutes. So one would imagine that on the 14th or 15th, whenever their game is. He's
a difficult one because he's 5 million. So do you really want to be benching a 5 million asset? Maybe. But then, and the reason I say about benching is because game week 2, he's got Chelsea, and game week 3, he's got City. So you'd want to play him game week 1. You probably wouldn't want to play him week 2 or 3. But I guess he has got attacking threat. Sometimes the big games can be low scoring. So maybe there's a chance of clean sheet for Arsenal there. And Arsenal under Arteta have improved against the bigger teams. But yeah, sort of game week 4 onwards, it's Norwich, it's Burnley, Spurs, Brighton. Game week 4 onwards looks like a really good spell for Tierney. Maybe not from the off, but for this exercise, John, I'm happy if you want to stick him in, because he is he's one of those players who can have a worldy game week. I think he got was it 18 points or maybe even 21 points away at West Brom last year? A goal,
the big one,
clean sheet, 2 assists or 1 assist, something crazy. It was at least 18 points. So yeah, he's one. If he can stay fit, stick him in, John.
He's in there, and someone brought it to my attention there in the comments. Yeah, Arsenal do play tonight. I forgot it was Arsenal-Brentford tonight. Yeah. I'm away out for pints with the guys, so
nice.
That'll probably be on in the background. So, right, that is him. Who have you got? We're on with 2 more defenders to pick.
Yeah, do you know what, John? You've picked a lot of people. When I did this little draft a while ago, I had Cancelo and I had Daka as well. So
it's almost as if you sent it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, true. That is true.
Subliminal. I wasn't doing that on purpose. I was
I know,
actually surprised.
but
I thought Daka might be. I didn't think he'd be highly owned, but I didn't think he'd be like 1.7. I thought he'd be like
yeah,
4 or something. Do you know what I mean? I didn't
yeah.
think he'd be that low, but
Sometimes,
it's
yeah,
understandable.
especially as people go, yeah, people like to have a soft spot for new signings sometimes, but I guess there's that rotation risk that people are worried about. My next defender is Reece James, Chelsea. So opening fixture is pretty poor, but my thinking there is that Chelsea can actually. I actually had him in one of my drafts, my genuine squad, and I did want to keep him because my thought process was kind of Chelsea can do it in the big games and close out other big teams and get clean sheets. I think they will. But on the flip side, it kind of like, you can pick anyone in your game week one squad and make limited transfers at this point. Why would I start a season with a player who has such a bad run until sort of game week 7? I know their first game is fine, but Chelsea's sort of game week 2 to 6 is really poor. But like I said, I do trust him to pull some clean sheets out there. I think he's only 5.5 million.
Do you think he'd play though? I'm just looking there, like he hasn't played once for them since the 18th of June, my birthday, and that was England. He hasn't actually played for Chelsea since the Champions League final when he got 90 minutes. Now, are they resting him because of his age or what?
I don't know. And again, because I've decided early doors not to go for the Chelsea defence, I haven't wasted time in looking into Chelsea players too much in the rotation. Tuchel, sorry, I can never say it right. I don't know why. It's so easy. Tuchel has he likes to rotate. We know that, and wing backs is a spot that can get rotated. I think James was a sort of favourite of his last year. So yeah, he's an awkward player to own because you're always thinking, is he going to start? Isn't he? I think and I think there's a bit of an issue with Reece James that occasionally he comes off the bench for the last sort of 10 minutes, whereas someone like Chilwell doesn't. So Reece James is a player that comes with risk because the early fixtures are poor. There is that rotation worry. But, I think because he's so young as well, I don't think we've seen the best of Reece James yet. And could this be the season where he actually kicks on again and becomes even better? I think there's a potential of that happening. And at one point in this season, I do envisage having him in my team.
Someone asking what the site I keep flicking up is. It's Flash Scores. I use it for looking at players' minutes and how they've got on in games all the time, so I'd recommend it. We'll throw Reece James in. Personally, I think like it's a risky call first week. Kind of like, to be fair, like Daka. This is the exercise we're playing. This is almost a predicting people who are going to be great through the season, not necessarily just game week 1. It's a bit of both, and it is differential. So bottom line is, one of these guys might make our team. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But like Reece James, look, I don't think he's going to play starting the season, but I think as the season goes on, he'll come into that because he is a top-notch player. He got so many minutes last season. He played great in the Champions League final. I think he's going to be in and around, and his ownership is surprising and not surprising as well, I suppose, when you look at the last time he played for them. But we've one more to pick, and I'm just going to whip up the next page of them and go for a proper differential. I think... do you know what? First fixture against Man City's grim enough. Regby on with 2.9% ownership's seems quite low. Max Aarons, I'm not saying necessarily to pick a Norwich defender, but 4.5 million, he's all the potential in the world. He's a cracking player.
The two players you've just mentioned also fit in with our. If you notice, guys, looking at the screen now, the 4 defenders we've got no centre backs there. We've got left and right backs, or even wing backs who get forward and attack. So you've always got a chance of an attack in return from those guys. And likewise I know Spurs are obviously going through a bit of a transition, and we're not saying go for Reguilon, but like you just said, John, he's got attacking threat and Spurs could come good under Nuno. And I don't know if they're going to play. Nuno used to like to play 3 centre backs with wing backs, didn't he? Which again could favour Reguilon. But yeah, sorry, John. Just wanted to jump in and say that both him and Aarons, who you mentioned, are these sort of attacking options.
So look,
do you
want
to know what I've got in my? Do you want to know what I've got in my team, John? Who's probably even more of a differential than the guys you just said. I've got a Watford defender, 4.5, Kiko Feminier, attack, and again along the same theme as these guys we've already put in, attacking fullback, newly promoted side, so there's the gamble there if they could get trounced every week, but they was fairly solid in the Championship, and they've got a decent start. So he's the kind of player that's going to be on my bench as just backup, but if he has to come in for a Watford player with a decent fixture and a bit of attacking threat, it's not the worst player in the world to come into my team.
No, good shout. I'm gonna just give a shout out there. Someone in the comments said they'd prefer Alonso over Reece James for the first few weeks, and now Alonso has got a bit of game time the last few weeks. Tuchel seems to like him. It kind of brings back a bit of FPL nostalgia.
Yeah.
So yeah, who was it said that? Robbie Glynn. I think like in terms of likelihood of starting, probably I'd pick Alonso more likely to start in the early weeks, and he's only 1.5% owned. That's why I mentioned it. Wes,
Stick him in for this exercise, then, John.
sorry, say again.
I was just going to say, stick him in for this exercise then. I'm happy with that.
You're happy with that? We'll switch him.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? We're on to midfielders. So who's your first midfielder?
Yeah. So just before we do that, just jump in. Someone's saying in the comments, expensive backline. Remember, guys, this isn't a squad that. It's not a real FPL squad. We'd never go for 5 expensive defenders like that. We'd never go for 2 expensive keepers either. It's just to highlight differentials in the different positions as a fun way of illustrating it. So it's not a squad
Yeah.
you should be going with.
Do not do this. And this team
Yeah.
might cost 104 million. It's more about a way of showing you some differentials.
Yeah. So moving on to the midfielders, because we'll probably try and wrap this up in the next sort of 10. Again, a player who was genuinely in one of my drafts. He has come out now. But I'll go for, again, Watford, because I mentioned their early fixtures. Sarr.
Yeah, he was definitely.
Good price, 6 million. Good early fixtures, attacking threat. I remember him for the Premier League. Did okay in the Championship, I believe. Can't remember the stats off the top of my head. But yeah, he's an option that is a decent enough option. I can't remember how much he's owned by now. I'll have a little look. But yeah, what's your thoughts on, any thoughts on Sarr?
Well, I've whipped up, you'll see it on the screen in a few seconds, everyone else is seeing it now. Like, if we look at his fixtures there in the Championship, like, I mean, a lot of goals. There are a lot of goals. This isn't even illustrating assists. So, and he was actually a big, not differential, but he was kind of an enabler. Was he an enabler? What was his sort of price 2 seasons ago in Watford? A lot of people had him.
Yeah, I remember people having him and he did well. He would have been around that same price, maybe cheaper, because you're not going to have a really expensive Watford player when he was a bit of an unknown.
I've got one I'm going to throw into the mix here. I just want to check his minutes. Yeah. I think Nicolas Pepe. I'm going to throw him out there. Do you know, 3.3% ownership. He has had a good pre-season. I've got it up on the screen here now. Now, over the last... Oh, God, actually, they were a while ago. Maybe he's had not the best pre-season. I remember him scoring loads of goals, but was that really like 2 months ago? That doesn't seem right. Anyway...
Pepe, sorry, I'll tell you what I was distracted with in a minute. But someone's at my door as well. Hold on.
You're bouncing, right? I'm going to talk shite for a minute. The knowledge has left the room, everyone. Now the chump is left. But yeah, so look, Pepe, I don't know. Look, again, this is a differential. I think now, bar that Chelsea and City fixture in 2 and 3. You know, game week 1, and then after that, from game week 4, there's a long spell there. If you want an Arsenal player who's a bit different, I mean, there are other Arsenal players there. Let's whip them up.
Yeah. John, just while you're doing that, I didn't hear what you said, but yeah, Pepe did do really well towards the end of last season, didn't he? He's kind of a player I've always avoided, but you know, he had a big price tag. He's obviously got a lot of potential. Maybe Arteta's getting the best out of him, and he could be a good shout. So leave him in. I'll tell you what I was laughing at, John. Someone in the comments said, "Where's Nails?" and they're laughing. Obviously, I must have got my hand in the screen. My kids did this about 10 days ago now, and I haven't bothered
that was on last week.
Yeah, it's going all scabby now, though.
You're like, awful. I could make a really crude joke, but I'm not going to. So, based on that, like, I mean, I'm just going to throw Pepe in. There's probably better options in midfield as a differential, but look, he's there for now. I'm not saying he won't be replaced. Sarr is there, and I'm actually surprised that Mahrez is under 10% ownership.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw him right out there because I feel like everyone's talking about Mahrez playing based on City's injuries, based on where they're at. I thought he'd be closer to 15% maybe. I didn't think he'd be under 10.
Yeah, 100%.
Does he jump out at you? Like, would you put him in?
Yeah, like, and again, as a differential, he's one of the top picks in midfield. He's the kind of player that, again, because I'm so relatively safe in FPL, I'm just a bit scared of City because I just can't predict them, and I don't like having an asset in my team who, this isn't to put anyone off Mahrez because he could be amazing and he's definitely one for this exercise, but I'm just a bit worried that, you know, you've got that 9 million asset in your team, and every week you're kind of questioning, will he start, and then it's almost like, I've heard rumours he's benched, so I'm going to stick him on my bench, and then all of a sudden you're benching a £9 million asset because you're second guessing Pep, or there's some leak in a Man City newspaper or whatever. and then it's like, why do I own this frustrating player? I find that with those sort of players. So yeah, he could very easily prove me wrong, start all the first 6 games and absolutely smash it, and I might even jump on. But that's just my feelings at the minute.
Based on just kind of Man City, Pep Roulette, wingers, forwards, Ferran Torres. Now, when I say forwards, he is a midfielder on the game, isn't he? He is. But he had a strong enough finish the last season. Remember, he got the hat trick, couple of goals for Spain. People are saying he's flying under the radar there in the comments. Like, he hasn't really played much in pre-season. He got 73 minutes in the Community Shield there, and other than that, he hasn't really played. But that was probably because he was away with Spain and got a lot of minutes, so he's been rested. If he comes straight back into the team, which is there's a chance, he's 2 million cheaper than Mahrez, and he's a lot less owned. So I would almost swap him in, because I think it's much of a muchness which one's going to get the game time, really. But maybe Mahrez is slightly more nailed.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? And you can save like 1.5 million by going someone like Gundogan. And if he plays, I know he doesn't always play this role, but if he plays that sort of midfield role where he's bursting into the box and scoring goals like he did in the middle stage of last season. Remember, he was actually incredible. I think he scored like 10 goals in.
He was incredible. And that was when De Bruyne was out as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and he stepped up to the plate. They had a lot of big injuries, and he was the one getting on the end of Sterling, was like down the line and just putting it on a plate for Gundogan, sort of 8 yards out. Not a plate, but yeah, he was incredible. And like I said, I think got 2 goals away at West Brom, really nice finishes. So he was just in supreme form, really cool finisher. But it's one of those, like, if you get him in, he's got that thing of like, is he going to play every game? Is he going to play more a sitting back role with the likes of Grealish getting forward? Grealish is another one. How is Pep going to want to coach him more to play like a Pep player rather than how he currently plays? Blah blah blah. There's so many unknowns there. If you go for City players, you've got a good chance of getting points, and there are loads of good options there, especially for this exercise, John, differential ones.
But there's a risk with every single one.
There is a risk in my opinion. Yeah.
I've made the executive decision of those 3. If I actually had to pick one and put in my team, I think I'd pick Gundogan. I think you've talked me into it there. But we could have Mahrez. It could be Torres. I don't really care who's there, or it could be both. It could be a couple of them. I mean, they're Man City at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So we'll pick another midfielder. Let me see.
Let's do 2 quick midfielders and jump on.
You pick one. I pick one.
Yeah, I've got, and this player is genuinely my team as well. I think he's still a differential unless he's gone up. But Harvey Barnes.
Harvey Barnes is 13.3% owned.
Okay.
I'll go when you think of another one.
He's gone up. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Ben Rama. I think
lovely
Ben
choice,
Rama could have a good season. Some nice fixtures at the start there. Finished well. I think he's had a decent pre-season. He was brilliant for Brentford. I think he'll be playing them soon enough. I could be wrong with that. I feel like I've seen that. Let me just check. No, playing them like in October, so I'm full of shite there. But yeah, Ben Rama, I think he's a decent differential from the price as well.
Stick him in. I could talk about Ben Rama all day as well, but you've summed it perfectly. So I'll just say that I echo that. My player is someone who got 8 goals, 10 assists last season, so 18 attacking returns in a maximum of 36 games because he couldn't play against his parent club, that's for sure. So Jack Harrison. Yeah, that's actually incredible to think about. Like I said, 18 returns in what looks like, so pretty much a return every 2 games, probably better. And he's only 6 mil in 5.2% of teams. He's kind of, a lot of people will go Rafinha, more exciting asset and possibly a better asset, but he won't be a differential. So, if you do want to be a bit different to Rafinha, then Harrison could cover that. And he also, I feel like he ended the season pretty well as well.
Did he get a hat-trick or something in 1 week?
I don't think it was a hat-trick.
He scored,
sure.
He definitely got a couple of goals anyway.
Yeah,
Harrison,
but either way, we know how well he did last season with his 18 goal contributions.
No, he didn't even score 2. Maybe he got assists in this game. Was it Leeds Burnley?
Yeah,
he got a goal and 2 assists. A goal and 2 assists.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that game. No, yeah, he was, and I think again everyone was on Rafinha at that point. Literally, no one had Harrison, and then he just turned up with a big performance. Yeah, I remember that. So yeah, he could be a good shot.
Shout out just to one player, 2 players here actually before we move on. 3 players here. Like, there's actually loads here, Wes. I mean, I genuinely would consider Greenwood. I genuinely would. I think I'm going to have Buendia and Sadio Mane 4.5%. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that actually right?
I think it must just be price.
Yeah,
because
but I
his
mean, like, I
price
thought
the
more people
same
would
as
have the balls to go Mane over Salah. Like, you're talking Salah 52% ownership, but
yeah. Are you doing
I
it,
wouldn't
John?
be doing it. No, I'm not. Absolutely. Fuck that. So,
Yeah,
on the
no,
forwards,
all good shouts there, and you could stick. Maybe it's worth sticking. If we're doing a differential thing, yeah, Mane should be in there actually. So just because I want to get a nice snapshot of this afterwards, stick Mane in out for it.
for
For
Pepe,
who's our weakest midfielder there? Up to you. Up to you.
you call it Pepe or Gundogan. Pick one of them. I don't care. I don't.
Take out Pepe.
Yeah, I think it was a shit call, really. Midfielders.
Uh, there is a little bit of buzz about Pepe, so no, I'm not. Don't write that off as a shit call, actually, John, from yourself there.
Right.
Someone's in the, just as you bring it forwards, John. I'll just answer a question in the. We will do some quick fire questions as well, guys, very soon. But there's someone saying Dylan Stevenson says, "Will Buendia start the season?" In terms of if he's, I've seen comments that he's fit, but Watkins is a bit of touch and go for the opening game. So just to answer that there, just because I saw it pop up.
So with two forwards to pick, if you want to pick one, I'll pick one. Is it
Yeah.
cheeky to say Lukaku because he's just been added?
Is he a differential? Has anyone got him?
8.6%, like.
Yeah, I think that will rock it, won't it? But in
That
terms
would
of
go huge.
we know it's been announced officially that he's not going to play. Like, it was obvious anyway, but he's not going to play in game week 1. So, but again, for this exercise, we can definitely chat about him because he's an amazing asset. He's got better intimate from. I feel like he's a better player now after his year or two. I can't remember how long he's been there actually at Inter Milan. One of the best players in that league, won the league with Inter Milan, blah blah blah. We all know what the crack with Lukaku is, and is proven in the Premier League. You can just go on FPL and click back and see what he did in certain seasons. Best season in 2016-17, 25 goals, 6 assists. So he's got pedigree. He's got better since those days, and he's a great asset. He won't play game week 1 though, guys. Just in case you've missed that news. A striker I had him in my draft, but I've changed him. I'm just pulling up the strikers actually, John. Do you want to
25 goals, by the way. Sorry, I did not see 25 goals. I didn't think he had that in his locker back in the day. I remember he was a hero, but 25 goals is a lot of goals.
It is, because I think last season that would win you the Golden Boot.
And probably the last few seasons you'd be in contention. Like,
yeah, I think that was a season he was going into the final game week as the contender for Golden Boot, but I think Kane got something ridiculous away at Leicester and pipped him to it. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe Bamford if he's still a differential. Let me have a look. Oh no, 19.3%.
I'm gonna say, and I think this is a bit mad. Maybe I'm gonna go Chris Wood. He finished the season really strong last year, 3.3% ownership. Obviously, Liverpool in the second week, Leeds in week 3, and Leeds did defend well towards the end of last season. Yeah. But the type of player Wood is, he's a big physical guy and he can score against anyone. I just think as a differential, we're light on forwards as it is, I think, in that kind of 7 million range that are actually feasible. I'm going to chuck him in as mine, I think.
Put him in, and if Lukaku's not in, I'll have Wilson in that last spot.
Wilson, 7.3% ownership. He's fit, is he? Injury prone as they come, but
I know, yeah. So it's a reason why I haven't got him in my team. I feel like he does start seasons quite well, and it's tough, isn't it? It's a debate that I've had on another video I did on the Hub site with FPL Mate, which was we were kind of discussing, are we being too cautious by? I kind of said my argument was don't go for Ings, Antonio, and Wilson as a front three, and he replied saying that is actually my front three. And my point was that they're all a bit injury prone, but is that overly cautious? Maybe. Just a quick one actually, John. We forgot about someone in the comments actually. FPL Trixie has said Jimenez. And
I didn't even see that comment. And did he say it before me or did I say it before him? I was sitting searching. You'll see it pop up on the screen. I was looking for Jimenez, and I was going to drop him in for Daka because I actually think I think Daka's actually a shit shout. It's good for the season, but it's shit for like a differential game week 1 team.
Stick him in,
Jimenez, I think that's a better call.
So we just on Jimenez in terms of he is training. I think he's played at least one preseason game. I'm sure you can find that on your stats site.
Yeah, I had it here. He played 77 minutes there just a week ago. He was on the bench the game before that, and he played another 72 minutes and got a goal 2 weeks ago. He
tweeted a picture of himself heading a ball saying "red." I think it was like "ready" with a some sort of emoji or something. So I think he's making a point of the picture was him heading a ball, and I think he's quite trying to say, look, I'm over my head injury. I'm ready to go, and I've got a real soft spot for Jimenez because he was one of those players who he never used to really explode, but you'd almost get a goal if
He
you
was
if
an
you owned him for
8-pointer,
like, yeah, and he's good for bonus. If you owned him for like an 8 or 9 game week period, you'd probably get 2 or 3 blanks, and the rest you'd get goal, or assist, or maybe goal and assist in a game as well. So you'd almost, on average, over that sort of 8, 9 game week period, get like probably an average of, maybe not this high, but like it felt like 5 or 6 points a game, which is good as an average. He was just I think his nickname on Twitter was the postman, because he always delivers that old chestnut. But yeah, so I've got a soft spot for him, and I think him in front of, if we're doing this is for, this is people who are watching ahead of game week 1, and they're going to want to pick if they're looking to cherry pick a differential out of these guys, then yeah, we should be obviously thinking about game week 1 as well.
Absolutely. Well, Wes, look, that's our differential team. There's a million more out there. There's loads of other players we could have picked. It's a bit of a fun exercise to change up the sort of FPL content that's out there today. You're going to be seeing all sorts of team reveals, all sorts of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Salahs, and whoever else is. It's going to be everywhere. Chumiscus, or however you said, he's going to be everywhere. Not on purpose there, I did name 3 Liverpool players that are probably going to be in my team. But anyway, Wes, I'm just going to whip me and you up on the screen now. We do some quick fire questions for 10 or 15 minutes before we wrap up. Nice, John. If you could, grab a screenshot of that team for me and get it on Twitter, see what people think. I'll get that over to you. Yeah, you do that. You pull us both up on the screen, and I'll announce it to everyone in the comments that, get your quick fire questions in, guys, and we'll try and attack them. So for people who are new this season or who haven't been here before, what we tend to do now is, you'll see everywhere on FPL forums, in the comments here, we've seen it a lot already, people will generally be like, Team A or Team B, should I get this guy or that guy? What we do here now for 10-15 minutes is give us your A/B questions, like XX and X versus XX and X. So we need an A or B option, or we need a yes or no, because these are quick fire. We're not going to try and get into the details. Wes is it? I'm going to be firing them at Wes. Maybe he'll fire a few at me. It's not about the explanation. It's the gut feel. It's the answer. It's the quick fire. So first one here, quick fire. Shaw on Rafinha or Kufal on Torres? Ahmed Arid says that. Shaw and Rafinha. Shaw and Rafinha. Gundogan or Greenwood? Greenwood. Yeah, I agree there. Someone above says Gundogan or Barnes? Barnes. Yeah, Barnes. Barnes. Yeah. TAA and Benrahma or Chumiscus? I'm going to go for Chumiscus, I don't know. And Son. We have Salah and Mane. Probably the Trent route. I think Trent's going to be like a player that you want as a season keeper. And Benrahma's a nice little, he could have a really good season after from an FPL point of view last year, fairly disappointing. But, he's had a season at West Ham now. Just quickly before you fire another one, someone said, I can't remember who it was, I think they were called Blue Beast. They said, mark my words, Lukaku's going to score a hat-trick. He's not going to play, so he definitely isn't. I'll have a bet with you if you want. Yeah, he'll get one later in the season. Barnes or Jota? Barnes. Yeah, Son vs Mahrez. Son. So Son v Mahrez. Son. Yes. Son, has to be Son. He is a million more, but I think, you know what you're getting from Son. There's a lot more reliability there, and maybe even a captaincy option for game week 3 when Spurs have a decent fixture. I think it is. Maupay or Richarlison as a differential? Neither for me, but I don't know. Is Richarlison even back and firing from I think, wasn't he not going to have time off the Olympics? But let's assume this guy's done his research and thinks both will play. Then Richarlison. Havertz or Jota? Jota. Tough. I think Havertz is slightly more nailed than Jota, but maybe neither are really. I don't know. It's a tough one. Yeah. Neither. Go elsewhere. Greenwood or Jota? Greenwood. Calvert-Lewin or Bamford? Tough as well. Calvert-Lewin's got the better fixtures. I'm not sure how good Calvert-Lewin's pre-season's been. Tough one, this one. I won't sit on the fence. I'll go Bamford, but it is very, very tough. Ali or Lucas Moura? Don't know enough. I've not considered either of them really. Yeah, I don't know. I by the sounds of it, both of them are more in the manager's plans than the old managers. So I don't want to write them off. But I'd probably go Lucas. But neither. I think Harry Kirk could ask this. So I think you know more than me and John on this particular topic because we haven't looked into these guys. So go with yourself. Go with what you think on that one. Lucas, Rafinha or Buendia?
Rafinha or Buendia?
That's a tough one. Rafinha's more
Rafinha,
proven.
yeah, and Buendia's got the better opening few fixtures. But yeah, Rafinha.
Alonso or Dean?
Dean.
Yeah. I think Alonso, if we know he plays.
Yeah.
I think because I like if the whole issue with Alonso over the last few seasons is we don't know if he's playing. If he was playing, I think he's in every team. But
I think he's a transfer out waiting to happen though. If you're thinking more longer term, because Chilwell's not going to be on the bench every game of the season.
Right.
Chilwell will come back in, and whereas with Luka Dean, if you've got you could keep Luka Dean for the first 6-8 game weeks or whatever it might be, and firefight other areas of your team. If you get Alonso in, you might get better points on game week 1 with Alonso, but he is a transfer out waiting to happen.
No, you're bang on. Chilwell's going to screw him. Kufal or 4.5 million with 0.5 in the bank?
See, I do really like Kufal, but I actually like the tactic of having a 4.5 million defender with 0.5 in the bank. It's one, and to practice what I preach, that's what I have actually got at the minute. I've got a 4.5 million defender on my bench, and I've got 0.5 in the bank, so that's what I prefer.
Can I derail this conversation slightly?
Go ahead.
I had no intentions of having any sort of premium forward. I was going for, Ivan Toney, someone else, and some shitter, I think. Now that Lukaku is in the game, and now that Lukaku is more than likely going to be a must-have after 3 or 4 weeks, for me, I think that's where it's going with Lukaku.
Yeah.
Do we need to think of price points and have that covered up top and have a 9-10 million plus player up front just so we make that transfer feasible?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So for me, that's why people are favouring I'm seeing people do 5-4-1s and 4-5-1s, things like that. But I prefer having 3 strikers in there for that reason. So I have got my strikers are 6.5, 7.5, and 8 million, for example. So although I can't get straight to Lukaku in 1 move, I think in 2 moves I can maybe go. If Fernandes isn't firing, I can go to a mid-price midfielder and jump up quite easily there. Whereas, like you said, if you have got really cheap ones and you've got a dud 4.5 million forward, it does make it tough. So for that reason, I've done that. However, what I wouldn't do is, what forward would you have to hold the place for Lukaku? None of them are very good options. What, Werner or Vardy? Even then, you've still got to find some money from somewhere. You won't be able to do it in a straight swap unless you leave the money in the bank, and then you've got a severely weakened team. So I think it's almost a mix of what you said. And a balanced act, and going for having someone close-ish to Lukaku that you can do in 2 moves, because I don't think anyone is going to be able to go straight to Lukaku in 1 move unless they save back loads of money. So yeah.
Okay, we have
good question, there, John. That's good strategy and good thinking about
that's the sort of stuff.
How you get Lukaku in.
That's the sort of stuff we'll talk on normal streams. This is the type of stream, today's been very differential, quickfire. Normally through the season we'll be talking a lot more strategy, planning for game weeks, etc, etc. We might have already done this one, but Barnes versus Greenwood.
I don't think we've done that one. Tough one. I do like Greenwood because of, I think someone said why Greenwood earlier. Cavani's out in the early stages, and so is Rashford. So game time should be pretty nailed on for Greenwood in the short to medium term. And then, after game week 6 or whenever he might be rotation risk, we can judge it then. So Greenwood or Barnes. I really like both. They're both actually in my team. So don't really know how to pick. Maybe Greenwood because he might play as the number 9 in a Man United team that's getting fed loads of chances and decent opening fixtures. And Barnes, I guess, has still got a bit of a rotation risk over his head with Daka, Iheanacho, and Vardy. So I'll go Greenwood for that one, John.
Grealish or Greenwood?
Greenwood, 100%.
Over Grealish?
Yeah, just because he's new to Man City, rotation there. Maybe at one stage in the season I'll completely flip that answer on its head, but right now, from the off, I'd be going. You don't know what position Grealish is going to play. He played left of a front, left winger kind of, didn't he, for Villa, cutting in. Now he's being talked about playing as one of the midfield 3 for Villa, so he might run the game and not get get man of the match every week, but not get the FPL returns. So. So for me, FPL wise, Greenwood.
Mane or Jota?
Jota, because you save so much money. It's 4.5 cheaper or something. So for that money saving, you can make the rest of your team a lot better.
Sancho or Mahrez? Mahrez.
Mahrez, yeah.
Short-term
Don't-
Mahrez, I think.
yes.
I think Sancho will be class at United. I just think we need
Is
to
he gonna
see
s-
him bed in. I think
Yeah.
it's too
Is he going to
risky.
score a lot? Is he going to score a lot of goals? I have him
He's
down
going to
as
get a
an
million
assister.
assists. But he will
Yeah.
get goals. Like there was a season, 2 seasons ago in the Bundesliga, there was a period of time where I think in the previous calendar year, there was a time when this was a fact that I remember reading it at one stage. It could have been a year and a half ago, it could have been a year ago, that of the previous year, he was only behind Messi, I think, for goal involvements for the previous calendar year or something
Yeah.
stupid. Like
I
when
remember
he was
seeing something like that. To be fair, yeah, it
now
was.
in
It was very,
Dortmund
very good.
and the Bundesliga, as I always say, like it's all as I take from one of my favorite podcasts I
Vibes.
listen to. It's nothing but vibes. They just score goals and concede goals, so it's different league. But
Yeah.
like Sancho's price tag is his price tag for a reason. He'll be an absolute cracking player at United. But I think again, it's almost like any of the big transfers in like Grealish and stuff. It's wait and see. There's
Yeah.
not a lot. You're not going to lose a lot by being sure. I think
Yeah,
the upside
100%.
versus downside. The upside of going with them is definitely less than the downside, where there's rotation and uncertainty. So, anyway,
For sure.
derailing that a bit.
Yep.
Ali
Should we take a
versus
couple more questions, then wrap it up, John.
Ali versus
Cool.
Smith Rowe.
Smith Rowe for me, 100%.
Harrison or Ben Rama.
Oh, very tough. Ben Rama has the more potential for explosive returns, I feel, rather than Harrison will tick along with points. So it depends what type of manager you are. If you like that steady flow of returns, Harrison. If you want that potentially explosive option, Ben Rama.
Willock or Suchek.
Has Willock even officially signed yet? I don't know if Willock's going to be able to play Gameweek 1, is he? So for that reason, I think Soychek, but I also think Soychek's slightly overpriced because he had a decent season last season. But at 6 million, is he worth 6 million? Soychek, I'm not sure. So when Willock's bedded in and definitely going to play Willock for now, Soychek out of those two.
Bachmann or Sanchez.
I've got Sanchez, so I've got to say him. But I do like both, and the fact if you go back when you can get Foster as the backup playing keeper, whereas with Brighton for like the whole season, whereas with Brighton you can have the 4.0 backup in Steele for now, while Sherpen, I think his name is out injured, but I don't know how long to, as soon as Sherpen's back, you won't have that luxury of having that, if then Sanchez gets COVID or something, you will be without a keeper. The minute I have got Sanchez and Steele, but yeah, like I said, a few weeks down the line, I could be a bit snookered, whereas with Watford, that won't happen. Well, that shouldn't happen.
Mane or Fernandez.
Fernandez for me.
We'll do two more maybe. Ings and Amarte or Antonio and a 4.5 million defender.
Yeah, it depends on, if you need that 4.5 million defenders to play, or if you need them to be your first bench player, then I'd probably go for the Antonio route. And also Antonio versus Ings, they probably deserve to be the same price. So out of the two, Antonio is maybe better value at 0.5 cheaper. And, like I said, a 4.5 million defender is going to be a big improvement on Armati, who it looked like he was going to get game time, but I think they're in the market to sign Vestergaard, are they? So I think Armati might get a game or two at the start of the season and then be back on the bench. So I think the option of Antonio and a 4.5 defender.
And the last one, and this isn't necessarily for game week 1, but for the season, who's going to score more, Kane or Lukaku?
I'll go Kane. I'm a big Kane fanboy, but I know this obviously he's not in a good place right now.
Well, Wes, look, that's about it. We've been talking now for about 50 minutes. Big shout out to Fantasy Football Hub for having us on, and again to everyone listening, go over, find us on Twitter. That's my handle, and Wes's is below him, FPL Heisenberg. Wes does post a lot more about FPL than me, it has to be said. He's full time at this stuff. But look, thank you so much for tuning in. Best of luck for your drafts for the start of the season. And yeah, Wes, any parting comments?
Just that you forgot to guilt people into liking the video, John.
Oh,
so do you want to give that a big shout, and then we'll wrap it up.
There's over 300 people here. Let's see what percentage of people have even liked the video. What do you reckon? I reckon
about 1/6, whatever that is as a percentage.
50 people. Maybe? We've got 250 freeloaders. That can't be right.
I love the meat called freeloaders.
That cannot be right. Your entry is you're like, come on, guys. We're nice guys. Shake our hands. Be our friends. Will won't have us back. No, but in all seriousness, do like and subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of great content on this channel that does and doesn't involve us. But we will be back every week throughout the season, as close to the deadline as we can make it work. And obviously there'll be a lot more strategy going forward and actual picks. This is a bit of a one-off kind of crazy stream. But yeah.
And thanks as always for the interaction. You know, we don't take it for granted, all the comments in there. And obviously we'd love to be able to reply to everyone. John, we always say this, but just with time, it's just not physically possible. But, you know, keep coming back each week, and I'm sure we'll answer your question at some point as much as we can. We'll do that, won't we?
Absolutely. But, apparently we've hit 100 likes just from me calling people freeloaders.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week. Have a good one, and